I'm not starting with a cerebrocentric view of consciousness, but with the bigger picture. It's been taken for granted by almost every civilization and traditional society that there are many forms of consciousness in the universe, not just ours and not just those of animals, other animals. It's been often assumed that the entire universe is conscious. And this view of consciousness doesn't try and tie it all down to particular regions of the brain or interactions or electrical impulses going from one bit to another. It sees consciousness in a completely different way. And the reason why people in all these cultures think that there are many forms of consciousness beyond our own is because they experience them through mystical experiences, through altered states of consciousness, through spiritual practices, through psychedelics traditionally taken in a number of cultures around the world. People have the experience of being in contact with a greater consciousness than their own. When Sir Alister Hardy in the 1960s started the Religious Experience Research Unit in Oxford, he was asking people in Britain if they'd had experiences that seemed to involve a conscious presence greater than their own, mystical experiences. He was astonished. Thousands of reports poured in. It turned out these are much more common than anyone had previously thought. Most people don't talk about them because they're shy to do so. They're afraid they'd be classified as mentally ill or something like that. But recent surveys have shown that as many as 50% of the population have had experiences of other kinds of reality, near-death experiences, spontaneous mystical experiences, including ones that occur in childhood, and other kinds of altered states of consciousness, which suggest that their consciousness is part of something greater than themselves. Now, in ancient Greece, they had the Eleusinian mysteries. Most of the culture there was influenced by this kind of mystery cult of, which involved an initiation in a cave, which involved taking psychoactive substances. We don't know what they were. But this was a pervasive feature of Greek philosophy. And Plato, in his book The Timaeus, talks about the conscious universe. What he says is, "This world came to be in very truth a living creature with soul and reason, a single visible living creature containing within itself all living things whose nature is of the same order." So this is a vision of the entire cosmos as a living being, a living organism. And this kind of view was inherited by medieval philosophers in Europe, in the universities and in the cathedral schools. They were also influenced very much by the philosophy of Aristotle, who thought that all living beings have souls. The soul is the form of the body. It's what shapes the body, and it's what attracts a being towards its end point. An acorn, as it germinates into an oak seedling, is pulled towards the mature form of an oak tree by the soul of the oak. So plants have souls, animals have souls, the planets have souls, the stars have souls, according to this view. In fact, the Greeks, including Plato, called the stars and the planets and the sun the visible gods. And indeed, we still call the planets by the names of the gods and goddesses, Venus, Mars, Mercury, and so on. So in medieval Europe, this was the standard worldview. Theologians like St. Thomas Aquinas integrated this Greek view, particularly Aristotle's view, with Christian theology to produce a view, an animistic view of nature. Nature is alive, the earth is alive, the planets and the stars are alive, they're conscious beings, the whole universe is a conscious being, animals and plants have souls, and the human rational mind is embedded in a level of the human soul which relates us to plants, shaping our body. The vegetative soul shapes our bodies and underlies regeneration and wound healing. The animal soul that we share with animals, gives us our animal instincts and emotions like fear, hunger, thirst, sexual desire, and so on. But the rational mind is that which is specifically human and to do with conscious thought, language, and reason. And that was the standard view in the Middle Ages.